All right, ready to dive in. Today, we're exploring Native American spirituality.
Sounds fascinating.
It is. And our main source is this article,
Okay.
Native American Spirituality, Embracing Earth and Nature's Forces from, you guessed it.
The Spiritual Seek website.
Exactly. And, we always hear about this profound connection to nature.
Right.
But I'm really curious to, dig deeper into what that actually means in practice,
Absolutely. And the article makes a really good point right at the beginning.
Okay.
It emphasizes just how many different Native American cultures are out there.
Yeah.
Over 500 distinct tribes, each with their own unique history, their own environment.
Wow.
But even with all that diversity, this connection to the earth, it's a common thread.
It is. It's like a unifying force, right?
Exactly.
And that's where this concept of animism comes in, I think.
Oh, definitely. Animism is key here.
So for our listeners who maybe haven't come across that term before, can you give us a little breakdown of what animism actually is?
Sure. So animism is this idea that everything in nature, like everything, has a spirit.
Okay.
Its own life force,
Right.
The article actually highlights a Lakota Sioux belief that all things are connected.
I love that.
And it's not just some nice saying, it's a way of life for them.
It makes you rethink,
It really does.
how you see the world around you, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Imagine, just for a second, feeling the pulse of life in a forest.
Okay.
That energy of a flowing river or the stillness of a mountain.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that spirit in everything.
Have you ever felt that kind of connection, out in nature?
Oh, totally. I remember this one time I was hiking.
Yeah.
And it sounds cheesy, but it was like the trees were talking to me.
I know that feeling. It's powerful.
Yeah, and it's not just those individual elements of nature, it's the land itself.
Mm-hmm.
The article brings up this term, Dainbaikya,
Oh, yeah, I remember
that's
that.
what the Navajo Nation calls their land. It means the land of the people.
I love that.
And it really gets at that deep connection,
Yeah.
For many indigenous peoples, the land isn't just a resource.
Right.
It's a living ancestor. It's intertwined with their very identity.
It's a part of who they are.
Exactly.
I think that's so beautiful.
And it really comes through in their ceremonies and stories, too.
Oh, for sure. The article mentioned the Blackfeet tribes, right?
Yeah, the Blackfeet.
And their view of mountains.
Oh, yeah. They believe the mountains are these sacred entities where their ancestors reside.
Wait, they're not just geographical features.
No, there's so much more.
And ceremonies like the Sundance, they honor those mountains, right?
Yeah, they're a way to acknowledge that vital role.
In their whole spiritual and cultural landscape.
It's all connected.
It is. And speaking of connections,
Yeah.
the article talks about this concept of the circle of life,
Oh, yeah, the circle of life.
which is so central to Native American spirituality.
Definitely. It's about understanding that life and death and rebirth.
They're all interconnected, the seasons.
It is a different way of thinking about time.
Right. It's cyclical, not linear.
Yeah, it's not like a straight line with an end.
Exactly. It's a circle, so endings are also beginnings, Everything's in this constant flux.
I love that.
Renewal.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And the article gave a great example, too.
Oh, yeah?
The Ojibwe People's Maple Syrup Festival.
Oh, right.
This celebration of spring.
It marks that transition.
Yeah, when the sap starts flowing again. It's a perfect illustration of how ceremonies mark these cyclical transitions in life.
Exactly. And these ceremonies, they aren't just going through the motions. They're really meaningful expressions of their spirituality.
Powerful, yeah.
They can focus on individual healing or bringing the community together.
And sometimes it's even about tackling contemporary social issues.
Yeah, using those ancient practices.
So interesting. The article describes the sweat lodge ceremony.
Oh, the sweat lodge.
As a powerful purification ritual.
Where you go into this small dome-like structure and heated stones and herbal water create this intense steam.
It's intense, but in a good way.
Yeah, and there's this quote from Dr. Joseph Bruchac, who's a Native educator. He calls it a place to rediscover our connection to the earth.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. It's like a space to confront your burdens and emerge renewed.
It's interesting how in modern times we have our own ways of seeking that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like saunas, meditation.
Even a good run sometimes.
Yeah, but the sweat lodge, it feels different, like more connected to the earth.
I'm also really curious about Vision Quest.
Oh, yeah, Vision Quests are fascinating.
The article portrays them as these rites of passage, often undertaken by young people looking for spiritual guidance.
Right.
They go to the wilderness alone,
Completely alone.
fasting, meditating, like for days on end.
Wow.
No distractions, just complete immersion in nature.
It's like a symbolic death and rebirth, almost.
It is shedding the old self to make way for the new.
Yeah, the article talks about confronting your inner self, finding your true purpose.
Have you ever had an experience like that in nature?
You know, I think so. There's something about being surrounded by nature that just strips away all the noise and lets you really think.
And then you have powwows, which are the opposite in a way.
Right. They're much more vibrant.
Yeah, communal,
Yeah.
full of life.
The article describes them as these cultural gatherings filled with dancing and music and storytelling, crafts.
A real celebration.
Yeah, and a way to preserve those indigenous traditions, too.
It is. Dr. David Deloria, he said, powwows are vital affirmations of tribal identity and cultural survival.
And they really are a testament to that enduring spirit,
Yeah.
the resilience of Native American culture.
Yeah,
I can only imagine the energy
amazing.
at one of those gatherings. And speaking of, wisdom and guidance, the article also talks about shamans.
Oh, yeah, shamans.
Who are revered as these spiritual leaders and healers. Yeah, they hold so much knowledge.
Right. Of both the physical and the spiritual realms.
And they use herbal remedies, ceremonies for healing.
It's that reminder that in Native American spirituality,
Yeah.
everything's interconnected, right?
Absolutely. Mind, body, and spirit. One big whole. And it's amazing how, these ancient traditions are still relevant today.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, they're not just relics of the past.
Exactly. They're still very much alive.
The article actually highlights how some Native American communities are even adapting their ceremonies to address things like environmental stewardship
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
and social justice,
So
taking these ancient values and applying them to today's issues.
it's inspiring, isn't it?
It is. So we're seeing these ancient traditions being adapted and applied in really interesting ways. But how are they holding up overall? Are they fading away or are they finding new life?
That's a really important question, and the article points out that there's a real effort to revitalize these cultures. Like, they're teaching languages, preserving stories, finding ways to honor traditions in the modern world.
It's almost like breathing new life into their heritage,
Exactly.
making sure it doesn't just disappear,
And it's not just about preserving the past, it's about reclaiming their rights, too.
Right, like the tribal sovereignty movements mentioned in the article.
Yes, exactly.
It's all about reclaiming their lands and resources.
There's this quote from Wendell Berry that really captures this. Well, he says, "The old man in his beekeeping is also a guardian of the land and the water."
I love that quote.
It's so simple, but so profound.
It highlights that connection between community and the environment.
Which is at the heart of Native American philosophy.
And it's a reminder for all of us, really,
Really?
that we're all connected to the land, to each other.
Caring for the environment. It's not just about saving the planet.
Right, it's about honoring our shared heritage.
And ensuring a healthy future for everyone.
It makes you wonder, what can we learn from these cultures? And how can we incorporate that wisdom into our own lives?
That's the key takeaway, I think. This article isn't just about understanding Native American spirituality. It's about seeing how these traditions can inform our lives today.
Absolutely. Like, remember the concept of animism we talked about?
Yeah, where everything has a spirit.
Right. It encourages us to see the spirit in all things.
And not just humans.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you do that, it changes how you view the world.
Totally.
Instead of seeing nature as something separate from us, something to be exploited,
Yeah.
we start to see it as a partner, a source of wisdom and healing.
And that shift in perspective can have a huge impact on how we live our lives.
I agree. The article also emphasizes the importance of gratitude.
Oh, yes, gratitude.
It reminds us to give thanks for the gift of life, to honor the earth and her creatures.
That's so important.
It's simple, but so powerful.
It is. It really is.
It makes you realize we're not just here to take, we're here to give back, to be stewards of the earth. So what are some practical steps we can take to embody these principles,
Well, one simple step is to spend more time in nature.
Yeah, just being out there.
And not just passively observing, but truly engaging with it.
What do you mean by that?
Like, feel the soil beneath your feet, listen to the wind in the trees, connect with the energy of the natural world.
I like that.
It's easy to lose sight of that simple joy of being in nature.
Yeah, we get so caught up in our busy lives.
Exactly. Another step is to learn more about the indigenous cultures in your area.
Okay, How would you suggest doing that?
Well, you could attend a powwow, visit a museum, or read books by Native American authors.
All great ideas. I've actually been meaning to visit the Native American Museum downtown.
Oh, you should. It's really interesting.
And of course, supporting organizations that protect indigenous lands and cultural heritage.
Absolutely.
There are so many groups doing great work in that area.
And don't forget about making conscious choices in your own life to lessen your impact on the environment.
Right? Like reducing our consumption, choosing sustainable products.
Supporting businesses that prioritize environmental responsibility.
All those little everyday choices add up.
They really do.
And they can make a real difference.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much wisdom is contained in these traditional sayings and quotes from Native American cultures.
Oh, yeah. They're full of insights.
I'd love to explore some of those with you, if you're up for it.
Yeah, let's do it. I always find those quotes really thought-provoking.
All right, let's dive into some of these quotes. One that really struck me was, "The land is sacred. It is the blood of our ancestors."
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. It really gets at that deep connection between land and identity.
It does. It's like the land is part of their very being.
And it challenges us to see it as more than just a resource, you know?
Right, something to be exploited.
Exactly. It's intertwined with history, spirituality, the essence of a people.
And it makes you think about the legacy we're leaving for future generations, doesn't it?
It really does. Are we honoring that connection or just taking advantage?
There's another quote that speaks to that responsibility to future generations.
Wow.
It says, "You must teach your children that the ground beneath their feet is the ashes of their ancestors."
Wow. That's heavy.
It is. It's such a powerful image, though.
It really emphasizes that continuity of life, you know, and the responsibility we have to honor those who came before us.
It's a call to be mindful, isn't it?
It is. Like, we're all part of this much larger story.
Okay, this next one is just so beautifully poetic.
Okay, let's hear it.
What is life? It is the flash of a firefly in the night. It is the breath of a buffalo in the winter. It is the little shadow which runs across the grass and loses itself in the sunset.
That's beautiful.
It is, right?
It reminds us that life is precious, each moment is fleeting.
Like that firefly's flash, the buffalo's breath.
Yeah.
Our time here is limited.
Embrace the present.
Exactly. Savor the beauty around us.
It's so easy to forget.
Speaking of gratitude, here's another one. When you arise in the morning, think of the opportunity and privilege to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love, and to look up at the sky.
That's a great way to start the day.
It is, right? A sense of wonder and appreciation.
For just being alive.
You know, one of the themes we keep coming back to is this idea of interconnectedness.
Yeah, it's central.
And this quote really drives it home.
Okay.
We are all connected. What we do to the earth, we do to ourselves.
That's a powerful reminder that our actions have consequences.
They do, not just for the environment.
For everyone, for future generations.
We're all part of this delicate web of life.
And harming one part affects us all.
Absolutely. Okay, this next one shifts the focus a little
Okay.
to inner strength.
Okay.
It says, "The greatest strength of a warrior is not in the battles fought, but the peace he brings."
I like that. In a world that often glorifies conflict,
It's a reminder that true strength lies in compassion, empathy.
building bridges, not walls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And finally, this one really captures that sense of kinship
Okay.
with all beings.
Yeah.
Every creature is a child of the earth, and all are together in the family of things,
Beautiful. Expanding that circle of compassion.
to include all living creatures,
We're all part of this one big family.
sharing this planet together.
It's a beautiful message.
So we've explored these profound concepts,
Mm,
this deep connection to nature,
mm.
the reverence for land as an ancestor, the cyclical understanding of life.
The power of ceremony and ritual.
And we've seen how these ancient traditions offer valuable insights for today.
It's been a fascinating journey.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left wondering, how can we each find our own way to honor this wisdom, become better stewards of the earth?
That's a great question. And there's no one answer.
Right.
But I think embracing those principles, interconnectedness, gratitude, respect for all living things,
Those are good starting
it
points.
can guide us toward a more harmonious future.
Beautifully said. Well, thanks for joining me on this incredible journey into Native American spirituality.
It's been a pleasure.
And to everyone listening, thank you for being a part of this deep dive.
We hope you enjoyed it.
And may it inspire you to keep exploring and learning, find your own ways to connect with the natural world.
And honor the wisdom of indigenous cultures.
Until next time.